بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم نحمده ونصلي على رسوله الكريم أما بعد. When you are speaking regarding deen and religion, you have to be very, very careful, because sometimes one thing leads to another.
Ustaz, your voice is not clear.
For example,
There's a buzzing sound as well.
for example, if you're building a big skyscraper, if at the bottom you have
Very quiet.
if you go 1 degree off, just 1 degree off, what happens? At the top, what's going to happen? You're going to have a big wonky skyscraper in it. So similarly, in deen, when you're giving a masala, you're explaining something, you're explaining a fatwa, explaining a hadith, you have to be very careful to make sure that your words are very precise, the way you explain it, the way you say it. Sometimes you say, oh, it's not a big issue, but the implications can be then what? It can go very long. I'll give you one example. What's a dua? You see the new moon? We hardly see the moon in England. We have fights over the moon, isn't it? So then most people don't even dua for the moon. Yes, Allahumma ahillahu alayna bil amni wa salam and dua. So the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, he's recommended this dua for when you see the new moon, right? So it's read every month. When? Every month at the beginning of the lunar month. So every time you see the moon, you recite this dua. So in Ramadan, Shawwal, Dhul Qa'dah, Dhul Hijjah, and in Muharram. So you read this dua in beginning of Muharram as well. So it's a dua for every month, correct? Yes? So that's the original statement, that's the original masala, isn't it? That this is a dua for the sighting of the moon. But now somebody somewhere, I don't know who, but I don't know, they said this is the dua for what? The new year. So it's not wrong, but it's not right as well. It's not dua for the new year. What's the dua for? The new moon. But 1 month is going to be the Islamic New Year. But somebody rephrased that or paraphrased that. What did they say? This is a dua for the new year. So you can say it's not wrong. You can't read the beginning of the new year, which is the first of Muharram. But now that dua, that has become understood. That's a dua for the new year. So now people start putting the dua for New Year, 1st of January and 31st of December, people putting up. You see, so there's one slight bend at the beginning. You see how far it goes away. So you have to be very, very, when you explain the hadith, that this dua is for the new moon. The Prophet ﷺ said, recite the dua when you see the new moon. And the moon of Muharram is also one of the new moons. So you can recite it then as well. But not dua for the new year. You see how from one thing you lead to another? And sometimes you don't realize the implications of this. So you have to be very particular. Like for example, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he said, when you leave the house, one of the masnoon du'as is Allahumma inni a'udhu bika an, and it's a very jamid dua, an azilla aw uzal, with a za, that I slip or I make somebody else slip. Aw adilla aw udalla, with a dad, that I become misled or I make somebody else become misled. Aw adlima aw yudla, aw an adlima aw adlima aw udlam, that I oppress somebody oppresses me. Aw ajhala aw yujhala alay, or somebody does something, transgresses against me, or I transgress against somebody, I did something stupid or unbefitting to somebody else. So what's this dua for? When you leave the house. And it's includes everything. So one time it also includes is what? If it's snowing outside, if it's raining outside, it will fit as well. You don't want to sleep. So the Prophet made this dua, it includes everything. You go for driving license test, make a mistake when you're driving. You got exam, you slip up, you forget. It includes, so whenever you leave the house, it's for everything. This dua is comprehensive and it includes what? Everything. So it includes all these. Now, if you were to say that this is a dua for when it snows so you don't fall, it's not wrong. But you see where you made it, it's kind of what now, isn't it? Now, what can happen? Now, let's say, for example, somebody said, oh, this is the dua for when it snows. And that becomes the stamp. People start saying this. You can't read it. You should read it. You should read it every time you leave the house. What will happen now is that somebody might come out 20 years down the line, 30 years down the line and say, oh, this is Islamic. This hadith all fabricated. It never is. It doesn't snow in Arabia. Why would the Prophet read this dua when it snows in Arabia? So there's a small little wonkiness at the beginning, and the whole skyscraper, what happens? The whole building has gone wonky. So something is very small, minute. So That's why it's have to be very, very precise. And even if it's somebody paraphrases it or explain it, make sure you explain it in its full and totality. And if something is wrong, then make sure you kind of like nothing wrong with it really, but it can lead to other things. So you must be very, very precise in your words, very, very precise in your structures, very precise in. That's why giving a fatwa is not easy. It's not only about giving them this is a fatwa, this is a maslah halal haram. It's like what are the implication of this, and that's why you have to have a lot of foresight, a lot of vision, a lot of understanding of what the implication of this is going to be. So you understand. So when you narrate a hadith, when you narrate a masala, make sure you're very thoughtful in your words, very chosen in your words, so that you don't end up saying something which can have implication. You don't mean it. You're not trying to mislead somebody. You're not misguiding somebody. And what you're saying is technically correct, but sometimes you can have this kind of misunderstanding or confusion. You understand? So sometimes in social media people post a lot of stuff which is very good, but sometimes like a lot of unfiltered stuff comes through, and then things get distorted and distorted, explained in a slightly misunderstood way. And a small deviation then can lead to, if you're not corrected, it can then get very far off. Do you understand? So the summary of it is be very, very precise in your words and very chosen in your words. Be careful when you convey messages of deen.